Hey guys, so today I will be showing you how to hack your Happy Hippos diaper patterns into making an all-in-one, and you should be able to apply these directions to the Flex, the Flawless One Size, and the Newborn. This is going to be an easy tutorial, and I am confident that all of you guys will be able to do this. So what you're going to need is a new pattern, or you can use whatever pattern you have printed off if you don't have a ton of lines all over it, and a long ruler and a pencil. So what you're going to do is, it is best if you have your seam line go through the snaps. That way you know that your soaker is going to start here at the snaps, and it's going to be up high enough that the soaker is going to start like halfway down your baby's butt. So what we're going to do first is get your ruler, and you're going to line it up through the snaps. I think most of the patterns have this line through here. That was going to be for an older way to do the all-in-one, but Becky and I decided that the directions needed a little updating just to be a little more reliable and secure for you guys. So what you're going to do is line up your ruler. I have a helper today, so if you hear her in the background, I apologize. So you're gonna line it up with this line, and I have mine, I don't know if you can tell. Let me move my paper over a little. But I have it going kind of through this bottom snap over here on both sides, and that's kind of a good guide for you to keep everything lined up nicely. So once you have your ruler where you want it, go ahead and draw a line straight through. Okay, so now we have that, and now you will go and you're going to make a line 3/8 of an inch above this line and 3/8 of an inch below this line. This is going to be your seam allowance for when you cut your pieces out. My helper wants to open my snaps, I apologize. So if you're not familiar on a ruler, 3 little notches down, where am I? 3 notches down is going to be 3/8 for you. So we're going to line that up with the line that we just drew. And we're going to make another line across. And then we're going to do the same thing on the bottom. And you make another line across. So now you should have 3 lines on the back of your pattern. So this is your seam line, and then from the top of your pattern down to this line, this is going to be a piece of PU wall that you're going to cut out for this top wing section, and then up to this line is going to be your inner stay dry material. And while we're here, I will show you how to square off this wing over here. So the seam allowance between here and here is 3/8. So you are going to line up your little notches again on your ruler, and just draw a line down, and then kind of find a straight edge along the wing here and go across, and then do the same on the bottom, find a little straight edge and go across, and then do the same thing on the other side. So again, what you're going to do is go ahead and cut your pattern out, and then I will be right back with you with the next step. Okay, so now you have your pattern all cut out, you have your inner selected for your diaper, and you are ready to get cutting. Just to make it easier, I have color coded these lines for you guys, so your top PUL is going to go from here to here, and your wicking jersey is going to go from here to here. I should have reversed those colors. That'll be okay. So we'll start with the wicking jersey. So let me get mine out here. Okay, so you will lay your pattern. Let me scoot everybody over here. You'll lay your pattern on top of your fabric. And for this middle line that we drew to begin with, you are never going to use this line again. This was just a reference point for our other lines, so if it will make your life easier to erase that so you don't try to line your fabric up like with that line, please go ahead and do so. Alright, so we have this here. So this is my inner material. So for this, I'm going to trace from, let me turn this image. I'm going to trace from the top of this line all the way around. Take our pattern off, grab my ruler again. If you guys don't have a large quilting ruler, that is definitely a must with all of these straight edges. So you're going to line this up and cut. Alright, so go ahead and peel this off. Alright, so there we have that, and I go ahead and cut off any of these little scraggly pieces that are not going to fit anything ever again. Okay, so I'll take that and put it to the side, and now I have my PUL that I'm going to be using for the top. Make sure that whenever you're cutting, you're following the stretch of the fabric. So you want the stretch to go through the wings. Grab my pattern again. So for this one, you are going to go, peel this sticker. You are going to go from this bottom line here and around the top. Now you have both of your pieces cut out, and now you are ready to serge or cut out your soaker. So we find where I've hidden the soaker pattern from myself real fast. So here is the soaker pattern. Whenever you print it out, you'll see that there is a dashed line. If you print out a new one, you'll see that there's a dashed line across the top for where you were supposed to sew this to your diaper. What I've done is just cut straight across that line because it's straight even with the snaps, and I have just straightened up this contour here in the back. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. If you want to make it easy, you can just fold your soaker in half and just do a straight line and just have it all one length all the way down. So go ahead and cut out whatever you want to use for your soaker. I personally use heavy bamboo fleece topped with organic bamboo velour. So that's what I'm going to cut out, and that's what I'm going to serge. And I'm also going to cut out a booster. Some of you may want to sew a small hidden layer of absorbency down the center of your diaper. So if you would like to do that, then go ahead and print, or not print off, but go ahead and cut out a booster. I have mine on template plastic. Go ahead and cut out a booster and serge that as well. And I will meet back with you guys at the sewing machine. Hey guys, so I'm at my sewing machine and I have my booster here. I just need a booster with 2 layers of bamboo fleece. You don't want your booster to be too thick because it's going to be on the inside of your diaper, and you don't want that to take a long time to dry. Especially if you hang dry, you don't want anything that's going to, trap moisture on the inside of your diaper and possibly mold and all that good stuff. So let me make sure you guys can see what I'm doing. Guys, so I just have a few things to say about this design since I've been able to try it on my own baby. One thing I would change is the position of the booster. I would definitely try to start it more at the top than toward the front. My baby's on the smallest rise. When she's not a baby, she's a toddler, but she's very petite. But with her being on the smallest rise and this fabric here, it does make it a little bulky up under the rise snaps, pushing all that extra fabric up top. Another thing I would do is if you have the flawless pattern, maybe use that booster, even shorten it a bit, but I would narrow this booster probably just like 1/4 of an inch on each side. Just the elastics aren't as stretchy as they would normally be because the booster is kind of pushing it open a little bit more than usual, but it did fit her really well, and overall I'm really happy with it. But I have my booster attached to the wrong side of my wicking jersey. You can see if you turn this over, you can see the mesh kind of maybe on that side. So I have my presser foot lined up with the edge of the booster, and I have my needle positioned almost all the way to the edge. It's as far left as my machine will let it go, and I'm just going to lengthen my stitch a little and lower my needle. And my machine has a locking stitch. I usually don't back stitch because my machine has a locking stitch. So if you're going to back stitch, you'll go forward a little, like 3 stitches. What is happening? And then go back. And I'm going to go all the way around. Okay, so I'm back to where I started, so I'm going to do my locking stitch this time. Alright, and I'm going to pull this off and cut my strings. I always cut my strings right away. I know some people don't, and that drives me bonkers. But go ahead and cut your strings. And then if you'd like, you can go back around with a little decorative stitch on the inside. So you can use like a 3-step zigzag would be nice. And just kind of lengthen your stitch a little for that. And go around again. So you're coming back up on your zigzag where you started. I'm going to use my locking stitch and go ahead and lock that down. Alright, so now our booster is sewn down to the middle. So now what you are going to do, you are going to grab your PU strip that you cut. To mark your centers, fold it in half, and you can either use a little washable marker and mark right here. What I do is I use my scissors and I just make like a tiny snip. So now I have a tiny snip in this one, and I'm going to do the same thing in my wicking jersey. I'm going to find the top. Here's the top. I'm going to fold it in half. And I'm going to make a little snip right there. And then I'm going to grab my washable marker, maybe. And I'm going to take my soaker and do the same thing. I'm going to fold it in half. And I'm going to mark the center. If you are sewing for a business, this is a good place to put your compliant tags. Here's a tag. What I like to do, this is just totally personal preference. But I just put a stitch through mine to kind of keep it together. And I can fold this in half. And usually if I squeeze it pretty good, will it not fall over? Usually if I squeeze pretty good, I can get it to like keep a little crease. And then I sew this to the back of my soaker. I just move my needle position all the way to the right. And then just run a stitch through the top. And no one's gonna see that. It is just gonna be to keep this one piece, one less thing that you have to worry about while you're sewing. Okay, so now we have our tag on the back. And now we are going to assemble our pieces. So let me see if I can scoot this back without knocking my phone over. All right, so we have our inner piece. You're going to put that down right side up and find your little notch that you made, and then your top piece, you're going to put that right sides together. So the shiny side is going to be facing you for this part. You're going to, where am I? You're going to line your little notches up, and then I take a clip and I clip there. And now I just go down the length of the fabric and clip down here. Drop a clip on the floor. can take your piece, undo your middle piece. Probably would have been easier to do this first. I should have done that. That's what I normally do. So your little, can you even see what I'm doing here? So your little mark that you made on here, you're going to line that up with your little notch here. And put a clip, straighten this back out, and then my little notch lines up perfectly with my mark, and then you can kind of secure down this end and this end. Okay, so my piece is all together. I'm going to put my Teflon foot back on. Okay, so I have my right side up on my soaker. I have my PUL strip right side down, fabric side facing you. It's all clipped together. So remember, we made a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. So go ahead and adjust your machine to a 3/8 seam allowance. And we'll go ahead and put this under. Put that under your presser foot. Lower your presser foot. And sew along your edge. Line your presser foot up with the edge of your fabric. When you get to the soaker, just make sure that the soaker is to the edge. You may have to like pull back here to get it over that hump initially. I might want to get stuck. And just sew the rest. All right, and now we will top stitch. Get all my clips out of here. And cut my strings. Alright, so to top stitch, now you're going to lay it all flat, and I like to fold, because you're going to have this flapping around back here. I like to push it up like this, and that way whenever you top stitch, it's securing that down, and it just makes it really nice. So to top stitch, I'm going to lengthen my stitch length a little. I'm going to move my presser, not my presser foot, my needle position all the way to the right. And I'm going to line up my presser foot with the edge of my PUL. And just kind of go under and make sure that piece under there is nice and flat. And then I'm just going to start sewing. Just going to reach under there every so often and make sure that it's still flat. So on my machine, whenever I get close to the soaker, I have to start going slow because sometimes it likes to skip stitches as it goes over this hump. So your machine might not do that, but you'll see whenever you start going. And again, just keep adjusting, make sure your fabric is all tucked up. And with your top stitch done, you now have your all-in-one inner completed. Let me see if I can move this all out of the way so you can see. Alright, so we have our peel strip at the top, we have our soaker sewn into the seam, and if we lift our soaker up, we have the booster sewn down the center. So what we're going to do next here is clip everything together. We're going to clip our outer piece with our inner piece. So what you're going to do with this tail, I just kind of tuck it up under, and kind of just stays like that for me. Move this cord out of the way. Okay, so now I'm going to lay down my outer, which is my print. You're going to lay that snap side up, so right side up. You're going to take your inner, you're going to lay that on top with your soaker facing down. Then you are just going to go around and line it all up. I like to start with the back wings. As you can see, where am I here? It lines up perfect. No fudging, no nothing. Perfectly lined up. So I'm just going to go around and clip my diaper together. So I'm happy with my clips. I'm going to turn this over so that the white side is facing me. I like to start my sewing down here in the corner of the front. Can you guys see what I'm doing over here? Okay, I like to start down here in the corner, I guess like an inch away from the corner. I move my presser foot to 3/8 of an inch seam allowance, and I adjust my stitch length. Put my presser foot down. And we're going to back stitch a little. And I like to do my locking stitch. And then we're just going to sew around. Alright, so I'm coming back around the front where I started. And I want to give myself a couple inches, 2 or 3 inches, to pull everything out. So I usually go like an inch past that elastic mark. And I'll back stitch and cut. Okay, let me see if I can move you guys a little. So now that we have, I can't see anything now. So now we have sewn all the way around. I'm going to switch out my foot again because my Teflon foot does not like doing elastics. I zigzag my elastic in the seam allowance, so I'm going to go ahead and show you guys that. I use knit elastic. I've been using it for a few months now. I really like it. As you can see, whenever you pull it, it waffles. It's not really going to focus, but you can still kind of see it only pulls so far. You cannot overstretch this. It will not let you pull any farther than this. And whenever you stitch, it just goes perfectly in these little holes. And I really like it. It's really easy to stay consistent with your elastics when you do it this way, just simply because you cannot overstretch. So I'm gonna lay my elastic back here and lower my presser foot and stitch across. I'm gonna do that a couple times just to lock that in. And then you want to change your settings to your 3-step zigzag. It's going to look like 3 dashes that makes a zigzag. So I'm going to pivot my diaper. I lower my presser foot, lift my needle because it's going to shoot all the way over to the left because of where I have it positioned for my 3-step. I'm going to lower it, and then kind of does its own little locking stitch, and then pull. Make sure that your diaper is nice and straight under there, and then pull your elastic. And you want to keep it, my presser foot has this little clear thing in the middle. You want to keep your elastic centered right there. And it's going to keep your stitches in the center. And I have my machine set to the longest stitch length, I think. It's a 7, and that's what's making it cover the entire strip of elastic this way. And then I have my stitch length at a 2.5. Alright, so now I'm going to change my needle position again so that I can secure this down with a straight stitch. And leave a little tail there. There's that, nice and stretchy. Then I'm going to go to the other two. And on these curves, like, just adjust as you need to. Like, adjust the position of your diaper under the presser foot. So I'm coming around this curve, so I'm just going to kind of scoot everything over a little. and I am pulling my diaper out of the back of the machine. I'm not letting it just stitch normally. I am pulling it out of the back of my machine. So you're going to be pulling the elastic this way with your, my left hand, and then you're going to be pulling the diaper out of the back of the machine with your right hand. And for the front elastic, I case my front elastic, so I will do that after I turn the diaper right side out.
Oh, this thing has shifted all over the place.
Okay, let's see if that's better. I'm not sure at what point the camera went crazy, so I'm going to do this other elastic just in case. Alright, so I'm going to cut my tails. And now I'm going to trim all of this excess, all of this extra fabric around the sides. So I'm just going to snip the corners. I use pinking shears, or these little zigzaggy ones, to cut off the extra. And now we're ready to turn it right side out. So what I do is I go up in here and find the wings first. And I push those in. And then I feel around for the soaker. Kind of pull that out and then pull the rest of it out. Okay, so now you're going to take something and you're going to make all of your corners on your wings and your front all nice and filled out. So I take a mechanical pencil that the lead is not pushed up, and I go into the corner, I kind of twist it to get that corner nice. Just kind of work your way around, poking out your wings and your tummy panel. That's done. And now I am going to find where I have marked my front elastic, and I'm going to put some pin or some clips there. I'm going to fold it. Make sure there's no fabric bunching weird. Okay, I'm going to go over to my machine. And you may have to just play around with your settings to see how far away you need to be from the edge of the diaper to make your casings. Do my locking stitch. back stitch a little and lock again. I'm going to go ahead and trim my strings. Okay, and now I have my elastic, and I need to find my safety pin and throw everything on the floor. Okay, so here's my elastic. I just use the Dritz brand for this elastic in the front. And this elastic is so short that I just cut a piece the length of the elastic markings here. And put my safety pin through the end. Hopefully you guys can see me. And then I'm going to go and find the edge here. And I'm going to put it, I'm going to start it not next to my turning hole. So I'm going to start it on this side. And I like to feel and make sure that it is closest to the wicking jersey. I like to make sure it's closest to the wicking jersey. I think that it makes a really nice ruffle on the front elastic, and it looks really nice whenever it's in that position. And I'm just kind of scooting it down, inching it a little, and I can feel that the end of my elastic is right here, so I'm going to move it down just a touch more. And I'm going to secure that side. So I go forward and backwards about 4 times. And then we'll trim that off, and I'll trim the rest of that in a minute. So then just kind of work and pull the rest of it out. And I pull it tight, and then I hold my elastic mark and I stretch it straight. And see, isn't that a nice ruffle? That's such a pretty ruffle. And then I'm going to stitch this down. Alright, and then I will trim that. And I will go in here and fish out my safety pin. I'll just snip that off. Make sure you take your safety pin out of your diaper before you finish sewing it, because it's not very fun finding out that you have sewn your safety pin or your bodkin or whatever you're using. Not fun to find out that you have sewn that into your diaper and now you have to go and find it. So now I'm just going to clip around the edges of my diaper so they're nice and flat for when I top stitch. I'm just going to make sure there's no weird creases or anything like that happening. So now I am all clipped up around the sides, and now I will top stitch. Let me cut my strings off real fast. So to top stitch, I start at this side of my front elastic and I line up, let's see here. Hopefully this doesn't fall. I line up the edge of my presser foot with this little, I don't know if you can see, and I'm afraid to move my camera. My presser, I'll just take my presser foot off real fast. My presser foot has this little clear piece in the middle. I line the edge of my diaper cut up with this right here in the gap. I put my needle position as far to the left as it'll go. And then just adjust your stitch length to whatever you want. But I will do a couple stitches and I'll go back and do my locking stitch. Start the top stitch. Now on these corners, it can be tricky to get around them. So I have, it's just a piece of fold over elastic that I've cut and I fold it in half and put it up under the back of the presser foot like a bumper. And it makes it an even surface for this to top stitch and keep going around that corner. You may have noticed sometimes if you try that, it'll try to eat the edge of your diaper. Okay, so I'm coming up on my elastic. So I'm going to stitch down to it. I'm going to lift my presser foot and pivot my diaper. Oh, after I replace my bobbin. Be right back. Okay, I've replaced my bobbin. So if that happens to you, just go back a few stitches back from where it ran out and do your locking stitch or back stitch a couple times and just keep going. Okay, so like I was saying, we're going to get down to our elastic point and we're going to pivot and just straighten all of this out. Lower your presser foot, and I know that I need to come across 4 stitches in order to miss my elastic. So I'm just straightening it out and pulling from the back. Lower your presser foot, and I have the side of my diaper lined up to the 1/2 inch mark on the throat plate here, that's right above my bobbin casing. Okay, change of scenery here. So I'm just going to finish up this casing. And I am coming up on my end elastic point. So I'm just going to sew up to it. I'm going to pivot this direction this time. and sew back over to the edge of the diaper, and then continue to top stitch. All right, and now we're just on the home stretch here. This is my turning hole, so I want to make sure that everything is laying very evenly along the edge. Everything is tucked under nicely. Now I'm at my elastic, so I'm going to back stitch a little and then do my locking stitch. Trim. Right, and now moment of truth. Let's see how close we got to this booster on the inside, because honestly, you guys, I was a little nervous. Close in some areas. But okay, here we go. You now have your all-in-one diaper. Get all of my stuff out of the way for you guys. So here we have it. Here's your soaker. Here's your booster sewn down the middle. You got a little close. You got a little close. Not too bad. Not too bad. If you wanted, if you have the flawless pattern, you could use that as your booster also. But this should fold up nicely. And there you have your Happy Hippo all-in-one. I really hope that this was helpful for all of you guys that have been asking for an all-in-one tutorial. As always, please leave any questions below and I will be happy to answer them for you guys. I will keep going down the list of tutorials that you guys wanted to see. So I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye.